Hello and welcome to 805 Focus, where you get the latest updates on our wonderful local nonprofits. My name is Greg Gorga, Executive Director of the Santa Barbara Maritime Museum, filling in for the wonderful Cinder Sinclair today. And with me today is Dr. Gabriella Garcia. She is the Executive Director at our wonderful Storyteller Children's Center. Welcome.
Hi, thank you so much. It's great to be here.
It's great to have you here. So Storyteller, I've known about for 20 plus years, wonderful organization doing so much early education. Can you tell us a little bit about the history of Storyteller?
Yeah, well, Storyteller was founded in 1988, so this year we're celebrating our 35th anniversary, which is really exciting because we are coming full circle and starting a new program at Transition House, which is where we were actually founded, in the parking lot of Transition House. So it's an awesome full circle moment for us in growing our programs. But Storyteller Children's Center has been in the community for a long time, and we have such great supporters and volunteers that really help to cultivate our program in the community. And that means serving children now as young as 6 weeks of age up to 5 years.
Wow.
So we focus on early childhood education with a behavioral and mental health component so that children really get the rooted social emotional development that they need to learn the tools that will carry them out through their entire life, especially because our population is mainly children who have had perhaps some kind of trauma, adverse childhood experiences, which we call ACEs, or any other kind of marginalized situation.
That's wonderful. You've gone full circle working with Transition House. And you have how many locations now?
We have 3 now.
All right. And so you've grown a lot especially over the last, you've been there a year and it's been a busy year for you.
It's been a busy year, but it's been wonderful. We have doubled our enrollment, which is fantastic because we serve the community's most vulnerable children. We want to make sure that we have the biggest reach that is possible.
Yeah, wonderful. So how many children are you serving now?
This year we are up to 80,
wow,
which means for the entire year we'll serve about 160 and their families, because we also focus on full comprehensive resources to elevate the entire family so that everyone can truly change their trajectory in life. And I like to say that we aren't just a preschool, we are a social change organization, because if we do what we do best and if we are really carrying out our mission, that is what will happen.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't realize how important those early years are in the development of a child, right? So those first 5 years are really critical, right?
Yeah, 90% of a child's brain grows in those first 5 years, which is huge and something that we don't always think about or realize. And so the first 5 years are the most critical in someone's life.
And do you work with bilingual education? Because I know that's really important to develop 2 or 3 different languages early on. Also helps you with.
Yeah, most of our teachers are bilingual, which is great because we serve 90%. 90% of the students and families that we serve are of Hispanic Latino background, and a lot of them are solely Spanish speaking. So being able to communicate with them in a language that they are most comfortable with really goes a long way.
Yeah, and my understanding is that if you learn 2 or 3 different languages at that age, your brain capacity actually, I didn't do that, which is why I'm where I am, but that is just so wonderful.
Yeah.
And then tell me, because involving the whole family is so key too, right?
Right.
So tell me more about that.
Yeah, so the goal is to really partner with parents and families to help them help their children so that everyone can elevate together and really break cycles of poverty and trauma. You don't know what you don't know. So educating parents on, why it's important to eat healthy for brain development, everything from why it's important to read books and creating that language development is really important. So we are partners with them in their families' lives for their growth, whether that's helping them with resources for housing, as we know that's a huge issue in Santa Barbara County, especially in Santa Barbara proper, and about 62% of the families that we serve are either home insecure or are struggling with homelessness.
60%.
That's 60%.
Wow. And Transition House, that's what their clientele is as well. So it's really nice to be partnering with them again.
Yeah, they're such a great and well-run organization and have such a great reputation in the community. It's really an honor.
Yeah. Oh, wonderful. So I was an English major. I love books. And I remember, because I worked with Head Start for a little while, we talked about, and at that time, this is 15, 18 years ago, a lot of low-income families, the average, they didn't have any books in the home. So that reading component is absolutely so crucial, right?
Yeah, reading is so important. And being able to provide those resources to families is one of the things that we are so proud of. And the community has really rallied behind us to help our families. So we, provide them with books, and we provide them with, like I said, all the other resources that they may need to get ahead, whatever that may look like, we help them with in partnership with our collaborators in the community, which are Family Service Agency and CALM, which is two great organizations that have just really helped our families tremendously.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, it's nice to have those collaborative relationships, so you're really giving it's not just childcare, it's not just drop the kid off and pick the child up later. You're really giving a well-rounded balance of different programming.
Yeah, we are, and it's been absolutely fantastic to see how much we have been able to do in the last year. With providing for families and making sure that they have childcare, because in Santa Barbara we're also facing a childcare crisis. There just aren't enough spots. It is extremely expensive. So being able to provide that for families so that they can work is also contributing to our local economy. And that is what we want. That is the goal, right? For true social change that is sustainable.
Yeah, I mean, between the housing costs in Santa Barbara and the child care costs, it's got to be a major part of a paycheck that for anybody, medium income, let alone low income, is really difficult.
Right.
And you talked about nutrition. That's really a key component as well. So not only do you teach the families about nutrition, but do you provide food for your clientele?
Yeah, we do. We provide breakfast, lunch, and a snack daily. And as sad as it is to say, oftentimes that's the main source of food that our children get. So partnering with the families for that food component and making sure that they have the resources available and the knowledge is extremely important. But we are really fortunate to be able to do that for our students.
Oh, wonderful. So how do you do that? Where do you get the food from?
We partner with the school district, Santa Barbara Unified. They provide our food, and then we also collaborate with CACFP, which is a food program that helps with reimbursement so that we are able to sustain the cost, because it is costly.
Yeah, I mean, it's children can't learn when they're hungry, right?
Right.
They have to be well fed, and that's again part of their development.
Absolutely.
That can really restrict their development.
Yeah.
So, what other programs do you have offered for your families?
Yeah, well, we're really excited that we are now serving children as young as 6 weeks at our new Transition House program. So that program serves babies 6 weeks through 2 years, and then they would transition to either our toddler program at our State Street location or our Head Start program, which is also at our State Street location. We also have our California State Preschool program at our De La Vina location. So throughout those 3 locations, we have a true continuity of care that we were looking to create. So, and that is so important for children that have had adverse experiences in, so young in their life. So creating the trust for growth and the social emotional development is key. So we are really excited to be able to offer all of those programs.
That is wonderful. 6 weeks to 5 years old.
Right.
So how many times do you go through and pull and grab one of those little 6-week-year-olds?
It's really hard not to hide out there.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. They're so sweet.
I bet. Well, all those ages are sweet ages.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
And so tell me about your staff. How big of a staff do you have, and what's, tell me a little bit about them.
Yeah, well, we've grown exponentially with our staff as well, and it's truly been such a gift, because we can serve more children and families that way. But we are up to 30 staff now.
Wow, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
And do families pay anything to be part of this, or is it completely covered through your funding?
Most of it is completely covered through our funding. Some programs, such as our California State Preschool program, a little bit more flexible in terms of income. So if families do pay a small percentage, then that's the way that we are able to sustain. Our toddler program is also private pay, but most of our families, I would say 99.9%, qualify for a subsidy program. So we have alternative payment programs that will cover the cost. So in short, most of our programs are 100% paid for our families.
Yeah, because I mean, they're working families, they're struggling as it is, right?
Right.
Oh, amazing. That is wonderful. And do you utilize volunteers at all?
We do. We have volunteers that come and read to the children or help us with admin work. Since we've been doing a lot of reorganization at Storyteller, they've been exponential in helping us take inventory of things and get rid of old things that need to be replaced. And so we have volunteers for a variety of things that help us at the organization.
So if somebody wanted to volunteer for you, would they look at your website, or how would they find that out?
Yeah, they would go to our website, which is storytellercenter.org, and there's a tab where you can click I'd like to volunteer. You can also reach us on social media at Storyteller Center, or on Facebook, or via email at hello@storytellercenter.org. And just reach out. So we're available on a variety of different channels.
Wonderful. Oh, that's wonderful. And any other partners that you work with that you haven't mentioned so far?
Well, we do partner with tons of different folks in the community, which is hard to list all of them. But Communify has been such a great partner with our Head Start program. Like I mentioned, Family Service Agency and CALM. So helpful in our behavioral health programs and our early childhood mental health programs, which have really been at the core of what we do. And we partner with lots of other organizations in the community to help provide the services that we're able to, like the school district and OT, occupational therapy, or speech. So it's really a collaborative effort to provide all of the services that we're able to provide.
Oh, wonderful. So mental health has always been an issue, but it seems like it's really become more of an issue with COVID and seclusion and all that. So can you talk a little bit about that, and are you seeing that, and what and a little bit more about how you help with that?
Yeah, it's interesting to see the younger children or children that were born during COVID that are slightly behind because they didn't have the exposure to the outside world that children a few years ago had. So we are seeing that they are slightly behind, and we're doing everything to catch them up, which has been so great. And we see how much they grow within a year, and it's truly amazing. But as a COVID mom, I had my child during COVID too. It's being able to see that firsthand, and then turn around and support our teachers and our staff at work that are serving the children and the families that are going through the same thing has really been a gift.
Oh, good. Yeah, because you not only had like the nutritional issues, the reading issues, but now you have socialization issues that they weren't really getting to experience.
Right, and especially with the struggles with poverty and trauma, that really adds to the mental health component that they may be struggling with because of COVID as well. So focusing on that and really preparing them can truly last a lifetime. If you experience trauma, it really does change your physiology, right? So being able to mitigate the lasting effects of that is our main focus.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit more. We talked about family advocacy, and so what else does that entail?
Yeah, so our family advocacy program is fantastic. That's our partnership with Family Service Agency, and we provide a variety of resources. So we have a family advocate on site 30 hours per week that meets one-on-one with our families in a private room to go over any kind of resources that they may need in the community. Like I mentioned, housing, medical care, access to medical care, food enrollment for food.
SNAP cards.
Yeah,
and
right,
like
SNAP
that.
cards, whether that is legal aid or custody issues, whatever that looks like, we can help them with that. But the other component to that is also our behavioral health program with Family Service Agency.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, I mean, it's so hard. You know, most of these families are working, you know, many of them 2 to 3 jobs, right? And so nobody gets family skills growing up, right? We don't learn that at all. So really knowing just how to access these programs, you know, it's one thing that it's nice that they're there, but, you know, really helping the families access them. Right. And then many of them, I'm sure, have transportation issues as well. Yeah, and, you know, we help with gas cards. You know, Family Service Agency does that, and they've been fantastic at really identifying the needs of our family to meet them where they're at and where they don't feel judged, because access, like you mentioned, is the #1 key, right? Sure. Being able to just know about what's out there and what is available to them is the most important part of that. Yeah. And not being stigmatized by accessing these programs is the main thing. Yeah. So how would somebody support all your, I'm sure this takes a lot of money to make all this happen, because you have trained staff, you have very qualified staff working there. And I mean, how many staff do you need per child, and especially at those young ages? You're right. So we do have to abide by licensing ratios. So for young children and infants, that's about 4 to 1, so 4 students to 1 teacher. And then as we get older into toddlers, it's 1 teacher to 6 students. And then as we get into the preschool ages, it's either 1 to 8 or 1 to 10, depending on the program. So it does take a lot of staff support to make sure that we are able to stay open every day and, you know, just serve the children safety-wise, and adhering to those licensing policies are really important to us. So it takes a lot of time and money. We invest a lot in our staff so that they are able to teach through that therapeutic lens, and that they are trauma-informed, so they know how to respond to a child who might be in distress and give them tools to self-regulate and de-escalate situations. So it does take a lot of funding, and we appreciate all of the funding that we get. So most of our donations come from individuals, about 60%. And then a large percentage also comes from local foundations that we are lucky to partner with. So if I was an individual, how would I support you? How would I find out how to support your program? Well, you can go to our website and donate online, which is a fantastic, you know, an easy way to just click a button, storytellercenter.org, or you can send us an email if you'd like to come in and learn more about planned giving or major gifts to truly sustain our program. Yeah, planned gift could be, leave a legacy, right? Leave a legacy. Absolutely. Right. Absolutely. And you're juggling so many different funding sources, because you get a little bit of government, but really it's the individual donors. Right. Our individual donors in the community have just been the pillars of what's, you know, keeping us going and truly giving back to change trajectories of families' lives. Well, thank you. What a wonderful organization. I'm so glad you're there now. Thank you. I wish you continued success. Thank you so much. It's so great to be here. And thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time on 805 Focus.